Isn't Janelle entirely predictable? I mean, really. Here we are again, beginning. Ron's back there waving. No Janelle. Every day she gets her coffee. She's doing her thing. She's starting her van. She just doesn't remember. I don't know. Well, we carry on nonetheless, don't we? See, I thought she would have jumped in by now.
It's not fair. I have to use the bathroom.
Wow, TMI.
I know. Wow. Sorry.
Wow.
I mean,
Do they need to know that?
Wow.
It's like you can't operate without that coffee.
I can't.
Go ahead, put your sugar in there. You didn't put your sugar in yet. Hold on. Janelle's going to put her sugar in.
Oh, my God.
So we're going to take a quick look at this in case anyone misses it. Let's see. We're going to watch this.
Right.
We're going to
really
watch.
Not a lot. Look. See? No. Espérate.
You did less on purpose.
Wait, let me see. Oh, my gosh. See? You're talking about me.
You did less on purpose, didn't you? Do you need more sugar?
It's perfect. Oh, wow.
That's not true.
See?
So today we're going to have a little discussion that we had earlier in the morning that you may have missed that I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And we've had this off air as well because of just our inherent differences as people.
Janelle I'm amazing.
Really is
I'm smart.
humble.
I know, right?
But no, I mean, she generally is an optimist and a dreamer.
Yeah, last weekend I took out my sneakers because I was like, May 1st, yeah, Cedar Point, yeah. And then I got to work on Monday.
And I was like, they're not going to open that.
Did you
and
read?
I'm more of a realist / cynic / like I want to get through today effectively and not. Like, I like to dream about things. If Sarah were here, she would say, oh, Brian's a dreamer, too. I like to dream about things, but let me worry about today.
Sarah said you're a dreamer?
And more so than her.
Wow.
Like, I'd like to dream about things we could do in a few years, like investments we could make or, like, things we could buy or do or whatever. But all I have to say, like, she's come in here with all these ideas about how life will be different after COVID-19. And I think our society has reached this point where we're starting to think about this, like, how do we get out of it? What's it going to be like when life comes back to normal? Ron was talking today about how will businesses adjust to the new normal. And
things are going to get better.
Janelle found this article.
We're going out into the world. It's going to be amazing.
Janelle found this. And she doesn't like the title of it because every time I remind her of the title of the article she likes, she backs off.
Because he likes to make points like that. He makes you sound super extreme. And, of course, extremes aren't true. That's why.
Remember, she said that. Extremes aren't true. All the things COVID-19 will change forever. Forever. According to 30 top experts.
Nothing is forever except the Lord.
Okay, she says that. But then, like, somebody texted us, like, oh, so just after 9/11, nothing was the same. Airports weren't the same. But other than that, I mean, terrorism is bad.
No, life, that's different.
But my life.
No, dude. That's
other than my experience at the airport, generally was not that different after 9/11. Just wasn't.
Let me give you an example that actually changed after 9/11. Ron said it. He said after 9/11, colleges put a little fine print and said if they ever have to cancel classes because of something out of their control, you don't get a refund. Well, that is different.
That's a big change.
Thank you.
I don't know how you functioned in life since that fine print was added to a college contract. Wow, how'd you do it? So we're trying to figure out what's actually going to change, like lasting change from what we've all been enduring right now. One of the ones Janelle thinks is that we're all just going to work from home now. All of us, everybody.
See that? Why do you do that? Why do you do that? I think
give me a percentage.
Working from home is going to become more mainstream,
which is what I said.
It's going to be blended. I think now bosses are going to be like.
Kelly is over here laughing because that's what flexible. I said. She's okay. What percent of people will be able to work from home?
If you're going to say that, then why did you just say she thinks everybody's going to be working from home? How crazy does that sound? How crazy does that sound?
You came on the air this morning like, yeah, I mean, basically working from home is going to be what people are doing now.
I said it's going to be more mainstream, Brian.
I said
the boundaries are going to open up a little.
Mainstream as in what percentage of people are going to work from home now?
So I don't know. I didn't think about.
Go ahead. Say it.
Gosh.
I'm gonna get ready for your answer. Go ahead.
Percentage. So it's gonna go. I don't know. I don't know about percentages. It's gonna become more mainstream.
What does that mean in terms of quantifying that?
It's gonna be below 50. Let's say if it was 5%.
Below 50%.
If it was 5% before.
You changed everything since this morning.
I said over 50%.
The implications of your words was that it's going to be like, this is what we're doing now. This is people working from home.
That sounds crazy. I'm an engineer.
Well,
you can't even make people in manufacturing, for example. Oh my goodness. Dude, listen. I don't care what I do in the future. I'm going to be able to work with whoever. I'm going to be like, boy, please. You don't understand. I work with Brian. Brian, you training me for war, Brian.
It's because I'm so tough. What we got going on?
Christina says, I hope church changes. Well, let's start there. Do you think?
Church?
Will change?
I think we're going to be forced for a significant season to change how we do our Sunday morning worship. I think churches that didn't before will now have an option for live streaming. But as a whole, I don't think church is going to change all that much.
Well, Carol's asking, how do you want church to change? So can you think of things where it's like, given what's going on right now, these are good trends that should stay? Online options, but that's been a thing.
But not for lots of churches. For some, not every church. My church. So
do you think that should stay? Your church didn't do that?
No.
Oh, do you think that should stay?
Sure, I think it's a great option. And now that we've set up the infrastructure for it in more churches, why not keep it? But I'm telling you, it's going to be, I'm going to be super generous in this. Give it a couple of years, and it's going to feel almost identical to pre-COVID-19 church.
Oh my gosh. Gary, y'all calm down. Is it Gary?
Am I wrong?
Gary
tell
Duncan.
me how I'm wrong on that.
No, listen. Gary Duncan said Brian should be a lawyer.
Yeah, thank you, Gary.
And Troy said, because you're a gangster, B.
Sustained.
You're a gangster, B. And then
That's
Dave responded to Gary and said, more like a prisoner.
What?
Oh, God.
So, Janelle, you think, and give it 2 years, church will be unrecognizable?
Meredith needs a hug. No, not unrecognizable, because I don't go to extremes. I think it could change.
How? How will it be different?
For example, the mind shift of a pastor that wasn't online and just realized because they had to, oh man, it's not that hard to do Facebook Live. I don't need big equipment or fancy stuff. This is actually an option. Like, we could actually keep this. That's something.
But you see how that
will
feels
that
no
make
different
a
for
difference?
me. Like, the pastor's shift in mind.
And they'll start doing it.
Tangible change in reality for the parishioner. Like, how will I feel anything different on Sunday morning that my pastor is thinking a little differently now? I'm not trying to be difficult.
You are not gonna feel every change that happens in every sector.
Which changes will people feel in church after COVID-19 is over? How will church feel or look different?
Is going to change. I don't think church in particular.
So you think
Except for what I just told you.
So you think I'm what?
Except for
so
what
Brian
I just...
is...
No.
Say it.
Brian so you're going to ignore the Facebook...
Brian is... Say it. Brian?
Right.
Thank you.
If that's a lawyer... Oh my goodness, he needs to be a lawyer in front of Judge Judy. Sit down. Get out my courtroom. Listen to me. So Facebook Live wouldn't affect you?
No, I would. If I had a choice, I would choose going to church on Sunday. Every time.
But let me give you an example how it would affect you. There are times where you can't go to church, or times that something happens, and so you don't have to miss the whole week. You could just experience it online.
Be super honest?
There are people that are sick, that are homebound. That impacts. That's a big addition to a service. I'm telling you because my father-in-law is a pastor, and before the pandemic, he started introducing this, and that's a big change for a small church that doesn't have access to the fancier stuff, and that mindset impacts the congregation because now you know, oh, I don't have to miss out. Like, I don't understand why that's not more significant than you're saying.
I think so. However, if I'm going to be super honest, if I'm going to skip Sunday, like if I can't go to church because I'm sick this Sunday, I'm not going to watch it online.
Oh, we've done.
If I'm going to be gone
I've
for weeks, if
online
I'm going to be gone for a few weeks,
yeah,
I probably would. But the experience is so tangibly different to watch it online than it is to be in person, that I think some people question whether it's worth it at all.
Yeah.
Unless you're forced into it. But when you have a choice, Janelle, it's like, oh my gosh, it's so much better to be in person.
It's better. It doesn't mean that change
Like,
won't impact
so
the
much
dynamic. You're changing the conversation. Angela, what do you think about Angela? She says, no more meet and greet at church. Maybe no more hugs and kisses.
Really? Can you stop the hugger from hugging once this thing gets settled? Can you?
It will feel more awkward. People will be more mindful because now you got to think
They will
about.
be.
For example, me, I love hugging. When I meet you out in our events, I love hugging. Now I can't just be as free.
But
I gotta
can guarantee
think
you'll
I
hug
can
people
make
still.
people uncomfortable.
You're gonna hug people.
Right, but I love my neighbor, and so I have to think some people are seriously uncomfortable with hugging.
So,
but you're saying that's going to be temporary. It's going to go away.
Do you think in 10 years people are still going to be like, well, I don't know, should we hug? Huggers are going to hug in 10 years, guaranteed.
Thank you, Donella. I know I ain't crazy. She said, amen, Janelle. I started chemo a few years ago, and before this online movement, I missed so much church.
Yes.
So,
but that's what I said,
we're not going to be selfish.
Term.
It doesn't impact you. But it does, like, it's more than you. It does impact a lot of people. Yeah. There's chemo, there's illnesses, there's the elderly that can't make it to church. So for a pastor to, sometimes pastors need to be kind of pushed into new things. And I got people that I love that are pastors. This is a good change that can impact a lot of people. Isaac says, I have struggled to want to watch our church service online through this because I really miss the community of worship. And that's like you said.
Yep. Dave, what did Dave say? I do like how, what was your movement? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I do like how we have online options for church now. In the future, all churches will keep their online presence to draw in believers from all over. It took COVID to get churches real. No, I agree,
We're
David.
so smart. No, he wasn't thinking, it's not going to bring any change. It's not going to impact me. That's it.
It's a good change, but it's not a game changer. It's not a life changer for the average parishioner.
Okay, so now you're saying it has to be a game changer and a life changer. That's a big change.
It's not, though.
Listen, Len's dad, who's a small church in a small, very small city, that's a game changer.
How?
Because it engages people that before had no option.
How many people?
That means they missed out on church. Some churches have, like elderly are the majority. Like in his church, the elderly is a majority.
So he's going to have an empty worship service primarily, and everybody's going to be watching online.
No, not empty. It means that the people that can't engage now feel included. They're like, man, I don't have to miss out anymore.
I'm not disagreeing about the existence of the change and that it's good. What I'm saying is that I don't think it's going to be big enough for most people to feel.
Right. Okay. Teresa says, I understand what B is saying. Well, I like this name for you. About how we change for just a while, then we go back to business as usual. Teresa, that's cool. That's true.
Because we can't forget, America literally went through a worse situation than this in 1918 with the Spanish flu.
Yeah.
With less technology, less advancement. And the world didn't seismically change in how we interact with each other in the wake of the Spanish flu.
Yeah. Culture
didn't change. It snapped back to where it was.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that just the existence of technology will suddenly make us make forever changes in how we interact with people.
Isaac says there will still be a lot of jobs that are simply impossible to do from home. But for those that are able to, I can see employers being more willing to allow work from home.
Yes, I agree with that, Isaac, although what I said in the air I think is still where I stand on this, and it's that I think we'll see more flexibility. I think we'll still see more hybrid, like people maybe occasionally working from home. But there's still so many tangible benefits to being in person, in the flesh, in the office.
Nothing's extreme.
That's going to be the ideal for most people, is being in an office.
Emily says, Ron was talking about dental offices earlier. I work in a dental office, and we're yet to know ourselves how much things are going to change.
Yeah.
I know for me, working from home is not an option. A dental office is a place where this would be highly contagious, and for me personally, I will have to make major changes if what protective equipment I wear while working.
I mean, there are certain areas and certain people that will change a lot. To me, I equate that to airport changes post 9/11. Airports are almost unrecognizable
Yeah.
Post 9/11.
Not even fun to fly.
But there's some aspects of life after 9/11 that are exactly identical in terms of culture and like how it feels and the way you interact with it. So I think this is going to be the same, where there will be things like medical offices that do change seismically, but they're going to be limited.
David says 95% of our lives will go back to what it was before. I refuse to say normal because I don't know what that means.
Dave, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'll put a 95%. Dave Safransky. What's your percent back to normal? Go ahead.
I would agree with him. I mean,
where were you this morning?
I still stand by what I say. You said no, we're going to go right back to where we go to. So maybe less than 95%.
I feel like your position is much more like a 60 to 70% the same.
I would say it's 70, yes. 70 to 75.
Thank you.
Lydia says people may not shake hands. David says that's GB to you, sister, as in gangster
That's
Brian.
Right. Didn't you listen to Troy?
Teresa says, yep, my husband is elderly and I purposely take him out to church to socialize.
Yeah.
She's responding to Mike who says, senior saints.
Yeah, I want senior saints still in the church. I don't want them
Some
to
of
stay
them
at home.
can't though, and I've
But
seen it.
that's always been true.
Yeah, so I'm glad that they don't have to miss out on church anymore.
For the
I'm seeing it in Len's dad's church. That's a real thing. They can't come.
Yeah, for the homebound, it's going to open up wonderful opportunities for them to stay connected.
Yeah.
But that's not the majority of parishioners. That's still like around Dave's percentage. That's like 5%.
Depends what church you go to. It depends what church you go to. Diane says, I think there will be more online educational options now that we figured out how to do it. It will never replace brick and mortar school, but we may utilize some of the tools we've created.
I'm 100% with you on that, Diane. I think you're exactly right. It's going to open up new opportunities, but the education experience will remain generally unchanged. But we'll have new tools. And I think those new tools will make it better. You see what I mean?
Mike says, as a side note, the earth is being renewed, healed in the air and environment. It reminds me of how God put Israel in slavery for 490 years because they didn't honor the Jubilee years.
Yeah, it's crazy to see pollution go down and such. It's been great.
Eva says, my pastor has acknowledged the fact that through Facebook Live, he is able to engage a lot more with the congregation through questions and answer after services and Monday nights, and that he will continue that going forward.
Yeah. No, I could see that change. Sunday morning, I don't think it's going to change a whole lot. But I think we could start seeing Bible studies, perhaps, happen more frequently in that platform. I think more pastors will leverage social media to do that interactive type thing on Facebook Live. Those will be good changes.
So that wouldn't impact the general population more and more.
Yeah, but I think the Sunday morning experience will be generally unchanged for most people.
Sunday, yeah. Gary says, getting back to normal may be like dipping your feet in a pool before you dive in.
Yeah, probably.
Lydia says, look at you guys connecting with us through Facebook Live.
We did this before COVID-19.
David says, Josh Vija, the people are demanding I am back in studio next week.
I've seen no demand for that.
No.
I mean, I'm on Christian TV or whatever.
What? Lydia, get over it, brother, about online church. Ooh, that's right.
She's talking to me?
Mm-hmm.
What?
That's right. She's like, you keep going back to, it's not going to change Sunday. It's not going to change Sunday.
Well, it's not.
It may or may not. I don't know. Yeah.
But see, you're in that camp, and I'm not. I'm in the camp that I want Sundays to feel the same. They probably will. For most people, when they have a chance to go back to church, they're going to do it. And within a year or two, services will feel like they did before COVID-19.
Yeah. Troy. Hola, Troy.
Or is he saying holla?
Wow. That is
I don't think he's saying hola.
You're a gangster, so you recognize that.
Holla.
Deborah says, we are meant to be physical. How can we not hug anymore?
Yeah, those huggers, they're gonna find a way to hug again.
Gary says, watching church online can be too distracting than actually being there unless there's a baby behind you crying.
Yeah.
Really?
What did you just do?
Oh my gosh. Patricia, the people where you live,
Replying to David?
Yes. Todd says, I demand Dave back in studio, the original financial gangster.
Yeah, we'll see.
Gary says, Dave, Timmy's mom wants to know where's the best place to get toilet paper. So is that back to normal, the toilet paper issue?
I didn't have any trouble finding some yesterday. Went to the store, they had plenty.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
That seems to be changing some.
Isaac's, and I've had my grocery delivered a couple times from Costco. So awesome. Isaac says, that's a big change that came back. I have struggled to want to watch our church service online through this because I really miss the community of worshiping together.
It's so different, you know. You won't say it because you don't want to admit that in front of me.
No, it's different.
On camera.
But I've used it before pandemic.
And you love
it's
it.
useful.
It's your favorite.
I'm not saying it's my favorite. I'm saying it's a good option to have available. And
scale
for
from
most
1 to
churches,
10, 10 being it's my favorite thing in the whole world, 1 being I hate it. Where are you with online church?
Wow, you love numbers for somebody that doesn't like. Okay. 70.
Well, that's not an option. 1 to 10.
Oh, 1 to 10.
10 is it's a favorite thing in the whole world, online church. 1 is I hate it.
Okay, so 4.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
That's where I am.
Right. But I've used it. I hate it. But if my church got rid of it, it would be like, oh man, like that was actually useful.
Well said.
We've gone on trips, and it's cool to know, man, we could still log on and still, especially like when a pastor is on a series, to not miss out and to be like, oh, we could still connect. That's a cool option to have.
See, Troy's with you, 4 to 5. And because you gave it a 4, and I knew you would, because that's essentially where most people probably are with this, if they're honest with themselves.
Yeah.
Sunday mornings are eventually going to get back to where they are, because no one would settle for a 4. Who would live in a 4 if they had a choice for something else?
So you don't think most pastors, you said your pastor doesn't do online.
Well,
most pastors won't do what Pastor Neville's did, which is every Sunday he has somebody with Facebook Live.
We'll have it there, and there'll be a couple people watching because they can't make it that Sunday.
Yeah.
That's it.
Troy said it's better than nothing.
That's right. And a 4 on that scale is essentially saying better than nothing.
Lydia says online cannot replace the actual time at church.
That's right.
David says the original one and only gun-toting financial expert.
Boy,
Mike says the country did that after 9/11 and Pearl Harbor also, but eventually got selfish again.
That's what I'm saying.
Meredith, I think so, but still no hand sanitizer or disinfecting wipes. Really? Oh. And Deborah went to BJ's and Giant Eagle and no toilet paper.
Really?
Yeah.
I was at an Aldi and they had it just yesterday. Stacks of it.
Dave Safransky says, I hope we go back to the way it was before COVID because we had it really good. The one thing I like seeing is how people are looking out for other people. I checked in on a neighbor I hardly ever talked to the other day. I should have been doing that before.
That's right, Dave. What were you thinking? Why weren't you doing that before? You haven't checked on me. Am I doing okay, Dave? Do you even know?
Lydia's happy that she has the online option for church.
Yeah,
I'm
happy I have the option too.
Part of me doesn't want to go back to the way things were.
Why?
Altogether. Because of what I said. I think I've reconsidered in our family our pace. I've questioned even our culture with that pace and like, man, this is like good, you know? I think we, it's like our neighbors have discovered the outside. I live in a neighborhood where it's a lot of walkers and joggers and all of that, but it's like over the top now. Like we're actually seeing people. Let me tell you a story. So my grandfather came like 2 years ago, and we were driving through our neighborhood, and for us it's a regular drive, and he's looking and he's like, is everybody like taking naps? Because in DR we take naps. They take naps. And he's like, where is everybody? And we're like, this is how it normally is. And ain't that crazy how you could go years and not know your neighbor because we drive to the back, go in through the back door, side door. People don't sit outside. That's something that I'm like, wow, look at this. Like, shouldn't we reconsider some of the ways we live and the things we do? So I'm hoping that even on a personal level, some of us evaluate and not go back. I think Lydia or Deborah said that. It's that quote I've shared several times that says, before you go back to normal, maybe think about what part of normal is worth going back to.
So, but do you think I know you want it, you hope for it. Will you be able to do it?
Not all the way, it won't look like right now. But
What will be different?
They have to do, like piano, I can't eliminate piano. And piano is very time consuming.
So what'll be different? Like, what's going to be something you're doing now in COVID-19 that you've never done before that will carry on in the Neville's family forevermore? Because you're talking about all the changes you're hopeful for. And I'm not being cynical here. I literally want to know.
The weekends is one that I want to.
Okay.
You know, for somebody that likes going out all the time, I'm reconsidering. Forget the kids' activities. I'm reconsidering, man, maybe it's good. My sister and I were talking about this. She feels like me. If we don't go out on a weekend as a family, it feels like a waste. Like, it's nice outside, let's go do something. Oh, now I'm like, man, it's good to be home and have nothing to do. You know?
That'd be a positive
Some of the
change.
going outside, like my kids, when it's raining, they go outside, put their bathing suit on, or we take lots of walks, but we homeschool, so we get some of that slow pace. But there's a lot that we do that's not necessary. And I think a lot of times we do things because we feel, it's like when you're in the rat race and you're just like chasing other people. Like, oh, look, it's fall. Let's go do football because you feel like you have to. Lydia's saying normal is what is familiar to us. Being in unfamiliar is what helps us grow. Danella says, amen, right. I love talking to my neighbors who are outside now. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
No, she goes,
mad people outside.
I read that differently. She's like, amen, right. I love talking to my neighbors.
Really? Oh, I love it. Raina, you know what Raina did? We were taking a walk and somebody had a sign outside that said, happy birthday, so-and-so. It's happy 18th birthday. And Raina saw the neighbors and she was like, hey, whoever's 18, happy birthday. That's what you see normally in DR. People are outside. And I'm like, I've never engaged more people in my neighborhood than now. There's nothing in you that's like, wow, this is kind of cool.
No, everything in me says this is cool. And yet the cynic in me says, I know the vast majority of it's going to dissipate when this is over.
Right. But you're individually. You can help capturing some of it. We don't have to go at the pace that's just because they flip the switch. It doesn't mean that you should. So is there any part of this that you're like, man, this is worth keeping?
Being less busy, but we still we've been trying that battle forever.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to win at that battle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially for us when we've made choices to have large families.
Yeah.
Paula
says, like Ron said, a lot of folks won't take things seriously. I keep thinking of those following Moses and Aaron and the arguments we're facing today. However, there's a great lesson to be learned in all this. We are the church, each of us a sanctuary. We can go a few weeks without touching church family and folks. It will make us rejoice all the more. Angela says she appreciates the slowdown and the slow pace. Jennifer is highlighting how God is healing families. It's good to see parents playing outside with their kids.
Yeah.
Dave, I have called Brian to see how he's doing. I know he's sensitive and I was worried about his fragile nature. Lydia says, I love the slow pace because of COVID. Donella, my girl. Troy says he is a little sensitive. He's agreeing.
Wait, what? Me? Sensitive? What?
Meredith, what's up, girl? She says, Janelle, totally agree. The world was so busy and now we're forced to stop and think about what we do before we do it. Lydia, normal is... Oh, yeah, so I read her.
We're not.
But I know most
I'm tempted
people,
to ask you for a percentage, but I
look,
understand the
Danella's
points you're
feeling it.
making.
She's like, I absolutely do love it, Brian.
Oh, okay, so you weren't saying that. Okay. It's hard to know. Sorry. But no, I look at you and I look at Sarah and I know how much both of you love to go out and do things. And that we didn't accomplish something if we didn't go out. I mean, maybe that's going to give you this change of heart. What, 2 weekends a year where you decide to stay home? But that inner part of your nature that loves to go out, it's not a bad part of you.
No, it's not a bad thing.
And I think it's still going to come back, and it's going to want to get out. And it's going to want, I mean, Sarah said, as soon as we can, we're going to go sit in a restaurant. We're going to sit there for hours. And she wants to get out.
Yeah.
And so I don't buy into the idea that suddenly the Neville's family 50% of the time is just going to be home on the weekend. But I think you might get a couple weekends a year that are a little slower.
Yes.
You see what I mean? Because I don't think it's bad to want to go out. I don't like going out, but it's not bad to want to go out. And I don't think that part of you will change.
I think what I'm saying is, again, it's opening our minds to realizing, wow, I'm busy. And in our culture and in this country, a lot of times I feel like we're just busy just to be busy. Like we put stuff. Like, oh, look, I do this. Oh my gosh, look, there's a parade. There it goes on the calendar. There we go. We don't think like, do we have to? Like, does it make sense?
Every time I think that.
Yeah, like just because there's a party, you don't mean you gotta go, or just because there's an event.
There's a difference between the two of us. I regularly go, do we have to do this?
Right.
Should we do this?
Right.
Because I don't like going out.
But even if I like it, for every human being, there is value in solace,
yes,
in quiet,
yep,
being still. And so this is showing me, man, I have to be more mindful. It's the rat race of life. And when you're in the rat race, you don't even have time to evaluate. You just go from the next thing, one thing to the next to the next. So this is showing me, man, when we do start, I want to be more intentional in what I say yes to. That's what I'm saying. You know, because when you say yes to an activity, you're saying no to something. You're saying no to quiet time. You're saying no to rest. You know, and so if we're just mindful, that's all I'm saying. It may not change it, but at least we'll be intentional to add things.
That emoji of the bear's for me.
No. Sara, hola. See, Sarah agrees. Love you. She says yes, just being forced to recognize what activities are essential. Troy is like, I'm with you, B. I like to slow down. Should I really go?
Yeah. I've already been in that.
Introvert like you?
So I wonder if what we're learning is that it's actually going to be changing extroverts, not introverts.
It may not, though. Like you said, it's not going to change every extrovert.
Because that's I know it's an annoying thing from the cynic or realist, but I fully recognize how hard change is. Like how many people are stuck in an addiction. They know they have an addiction, but they don't have the force of will to change or the desire to change. There's going to be a lot of people who like what they're experiencing now. They're thinking about redoing it. But actual change is really hard to create and sustain.
But it's possible.
It's possible and it's worth it.
It's possible, yeah.
It's possible and it's worth it.
If you're a believer and the Lord's like making you aware of areas in your life where you need work, put it in prayer, get accountability, talk it over with your spouse. For example, for me to have this conversation with Len and say, man, we were going kind of fast. There's a lot of stuff that we're not intentional about. You know, now you're in partnership with someone that's like, remember, you know, like we're trying to be mindful about our schedules. And it's possible. You keep saying it's hard to make change.
I'm not saying it's impossible.
It's good to, like, that's growth.
Right. But the realist in me says that change is hard enough that a lot of people don't do it.
Yeah.
Why do you think people don't lose weight?
Yeah.
Why do you think people don't go get exercise? It's because the force of will to make a change, not just a decision or an idea, but to make a physical change is really hard.
Yeah.
Apart from the grace of God and some real tangible changes in life.
Yeah.
So
Troy says his horses love me. The horses are my favorite animal. I wish they could go live in my house. I like them more than dogs. And he says they like my voice.
See, look at Gary.
Staring at him.
Gary's back.
Gary,
See?
He loves you. Humans are creatures of habit and have it hard for change.
Yeah.
That's fine, but that doesn't discount trying to change.
But this is why I think it's important to do two things in tandem, and this is why God made different people, right? Mm-hmm. We need people like Janelle to inspire us to see that change is possible, and we need people like me to put you back on the ground in reality and say, you can't just say I should do this. You've got to make tangible actions for change.
Absolutely.
You've got to recognize that it's really hard to do it.
And it's easier to make change when your why is big enough for you. The why. So the why for me in pursuing this change, in spite of how difficult it is like, wow, like look at the amount of times we've spent as a family. Look at how I've been feeling. Jennifer Morocco brought up the healing in families. If we as couples and as individuals focus on that why and grab onto that and bring it with us, it makes it easier to make a change.
I'll give Janelle the last word.
That's right, my people. Word up to hashtag Team Janelle. Word up. Word to your mother. See you for Follow Friday. That's it. You can't say nothing. Oh my God.
It's hard.
I'm just playing. Say something. Oh.